Let's talk about how to find the perfect clients for real estate agents, right? So real estate agents, for the most part, have two types of clients, right? But we're going to focus, or a few type of clients. We're going to focus on the real estate agent that wants to find people who are trying to purchase their first homes, right? Because most of the time, the how people enter kind of the real estate ecosystem is by buying their first home, and then the real estate agents get those like kind of easier commissions when those same people want to go about selling their homes. And so people who are trying to buy their first home is who we are going to target here. And then the real estate agent, through their relationship skills and just like how well that they do their job, they're going to get those kind of cheaper, easier sales commissions when those same people go to sell their homes, right? Because usually the sales process when they go to sell their homes happens from the relationships that they formed with their previous real estate agent, unless something went wrong, right? And so we're going to focus on how to find real estate agents, new clients who are looking to purchase their first home. We're going to do this one in Chicago. We're going to do it in kind of the same way. This is just like my kind of initial thoughts. We're going to target people based on their demographics, right? People who are earning an income 100,000 up to all the way up to over 500,000. And so we're going to kind of leave out number 1, 2, and 3. We see the numbers here, which is 99,000 to 75, 75 to 50, and below 50. So we're going to leave those out because we're going to target people who are a little bit more affluent, a little bit higher on kind of the income scale here, and we're also going to target people who have a higher net worth, right? So 500,000 all the way up to 2 million, because we're just going to make the assumption that this is maybe a more luxury home. If it wasn't, obviously you could change this around however you want to target people in a lower income bracket and who have a lower net worth. But we're going to choose it. We're going to do this one as if we're targeting people who are kind of in a higher net worth. And so we're going to open up Audience Insights. Because these are just my basic assumptions, right? Over 2 million, 500,000 to a million to 2 million. But we also want them to match the following. So they have this income, they also have this net worth, and they also have this, right? According to their behavior, according to their residential profile, they're likely to move. And so Facebook has an unbelievable amount of data, and we're going to test it, all right? We're going to try to see if it actually is working. So they're likely to move according to their behavioral profile that Facebook has on them. They're a first-time home buyer, and that they're also a renter, right? One of these three things. Because if somebody is likely to move, then they could potentially be likely to be there to try to find their first house. If they're a renter, maybe they are going to become a buyer, right? If we're targeting homeowners, they're probably less likely to buy their first home. So we're targeting renters who are likely to move, who are also, according to their home ownership demographical profile, are first-time home buyers. And they also match the following. If somebody is interested in buying a first home and they're at all technologically savvy, they've probably heard about Realtor.com, Trulia, or Zillow. And if they have heard about Realtor.com, Trulia, or Zillow, it's very, very likely that they're looking for a house. Because why otherwise would you go to Realtor.com, Trulia, or Zillow.com unless you were looking to buy your first home, right? And so I think that these three are probably my best kind of options to mess around with when it comes to actually using Audience Insights to get a little bit more information about these people in Chicago who are interested in these things. So we're going to use Realtor.com. So let's do Realtor.com. We see that it's 72% women. We see that there's almost no action here for 18 to 24-year-olds, which makes a lot of sense, right? Because 18 to 24-year-olds generally aren't looking to buy their first home because, with today's economy, it's a little harder sometimes. We're going to choose Chicago, Illinois. And we see that, the overwhelming percentage here is 25 through 34-year-olds, but even more so 35 through 44-year-olds, right? So this is a very defined bracket here. And so I'm going to update my age. So I was guessing 25 through 34, but leaving out the 44-year-olds makes absolutely no sense because there's such an overwhelmingly large percentage here. And so we see that it's generally split men and women, but it's actually primarily or more so women. Let's see what other pages people like who are interested in Realtor.com. At Property, Chicago Association of Realtors. Oh, because we're in Chicago right now. So let's take off Chicago and see what people who are interested. Realtor.com, Realtor.com Pro. Right, here we go. Zillow, Trulia, HomeAway, Zappos is an interesting one. Overstock, home goods, right? Because if people are interested in home goods or Wayfair, they're probably buying furniture for a new home, potentially, or they're at least like looking at, buying new furniture, or they're interested in home goods, which has a lot of kind of decorations for homes and stuff like that. Because I just bought a house and I had never been to home goods in my life, and people were kind of recommending me to go there, and I went there once, and it's the only time that I'll ever go there again. So Realtor Magazine might be an interesting one to test out. So we might add Realtor Magazine, because we do see that Realtor Magazine right here has an 1165 times affinity score, which basically means that how likely your audience is to like a given page compared to everyone on Facebook. So if like somebody who likes Realtor.com is 1100 times more likely to also like Realtor Magazine compared to the average Facebook user, right? So that is kind of how we do it. The only kind of update that I would make initially for kind of our shots in the dark would be to make the age range a little bit wider. And again, we could run a split test 25 through 34 and 35 through 44 and just kind of see the results. But it's important to kind of recognize, guys, that when you run these ad campaigns, Facebook will show you, what ages are doing the best. Like if we ran 18 to 65 plus, it would still show us, okay, the people like 25 through whatever 34-year-olds are performing the best for your ads. But the problem with that, if you don't split test it, is Facebook isn't perfect. It won't give you, equal impressions across all age ranges if you do too wide of a range, which is why I always suggest split testing it like this. 25 through 34-year-olds, I would make this ad, exactly how it is like this. I would launch it, and then I would duplicate it, and the only thing that I would change is changing this to be, 35 through 44-year-olds. And then you can really know for sure what is actually better between those age ranges, 35 through 44 or 25 through 34, because you're going to be able to get much more kind of consistent level impressions than if you use a big age range. Facebook won't give it equal impressions. It'll just prioritize one, and you won't be able to know what is actually the preferential age there. And so this is kind of what I would do, guys. Targeting people by income, targeting people by net worth, targeting people by their, their behaviors and demographics, that they're likely to move, that they're first-time home buyers or renters, and then targeting people who are interested in, services or companies who kind of facilitate people who are looking to buy their first home. So that is how I would do it, guys, with Audience Insights. I hope you enjoyed that one, and let's get to the next.